record this, I'm excited for you guys to learn from Nanette Hill. She just made it to qualifying senior sales coordinator, and she's really doing some awesome systems with her team. And I remember when she really was just getting customers, and she's like, and nobody's, moving on my team, and she's just a little frustrated, which we all go through. I remember the times I've been frustrated. And it's a learning experience. This whole journey is learning and you're growing, and then you just keep moving up, but you have to stay steady and consistent in order to do that. And so Nanette has done that, and she's plugged in and she's really pursued getting better at the business. Okay. And so she really took the time to go ahead and learn the bullet list that I have. She started reading books, and she'll probably tell you about that. And she got solid in the business. She was solid in, the product, but she had to be solid in both. So I'm not going to take away much more from you, Nanette. Really happy that you're on here today. She just got done teaching Pilates. She lives in Atlanta, mom of two awesome grown girls, and I'll leave it to you for the rest.
Hi, everybody. So I know Sharon wanted me to talk to you about systems, and I don't know if I'm supposed to tell my story or not, but yeah. Okay. So I first heard about Juice Plus from my mom, and she is a naturopathic doctor. Dr. Nalani Valentine is my mom. And because my daughter was getting sick all the time, we would be in the emergency room. She had her first emergency room visit because of bronchitis when she was 2 months old. And so over the years, it was getting worse. And since mom said children could get it for free, I didn't even order it yet. She had an order. I was like, okay, good. So she can get it on your order. And it really did help her a lot. We weren't ending up in the emergency room every time she got a cold. And we were no longer using the nebulizer, and she wasn't missing a whole week of school. And so by this time she was almost she was leaving elementary school. Also, I was so anemic that when I went to donate blood, you have to be at a 12.5 to donate your blood count. And I was at a 4. And they were like, oh, we think you might need the blood transfusion. And do you have sickle cell? So I started eating Juice Plus because I also have a neurological muscular issue where I had actually lost the use of my fingers, and I was losing a lot of muscle tissue in my hands. And they couldn't figure out exactly what it was, but everything that they kept diagnosing it was getting rarer and rarer, and was incurable. So I finally listened to mom, started eating Juice Plus, and it didn't happen right away. I never really noticed any difference in what I was feeling, but over several months, I noticed I started regaining some muscle tissue in my hands, and the nerves started working again. And that was huge. Also, the next year, I was able to donate blood. So that was huge for me. So I never missed taking my Juice Plus. And then mom was telling me about the business and wanted me to come to conference with her. And my first conference experience was very strange. I'm not going to go into it, but that would probably be part of my NMD story. But what kept me there basically was the national marketing director stories and listening to them tell. And I am more of a free spirit type of person. Working in an office, which is what I was doing at the time, was not something I want to do for the rest of my life. And I just wanted a different way. And Juice Plus seemed simple. I loved the fact that it was a small product line, and I was absolutely in love with the product. And being there at conference and listening to the stories, and I really like everything the corporate office always does at every conference, and showing the new videos that are coming out and new research. So that's what got me started. Talking to people was not an issue for me. And getting customers, like Sharon said, I got some customers. I even got some team members, and made Partner Plus. And I actually, I forgot what it used to be called, virtual franchisee, I think it used to be called. It's what QSC is now. So I did make that, because I had a couple of team members and we were putting in orders, but I never fast tracked the sales coordinator. So I did it the slow way, accumulatively over a few years. And so I'm really, gotta say, I'm really excited this conference, because I never ever got to walk the stage because I never fast tracked. Then when Sharon was shooting for 50 Club, I wanted to be a part of that. And so decided I wanted to be customer qualified and get to the PV. At that time, it was 1,000 PV, I think. And be one of her qualifiers. So a bunch of us did that on Team Transformers. And so the next conference, Sharon made 50 Club. And so I was really happy to be a part of that. So fast forward, I stayed as sales coordinator, pretty much lost my team, but still steadily was making between 300 to 500 a month every single month for about 3.5, 4 years. I got laid off my job in 2019. And then of course, COVID happened last year. And I never missed I missed a couple conferences because of family issues that were going on. But I did always stay plugged in. So that was a big thing, because no matter what was going on, getting emotional. I had a lot of stuff going on in my life. My daughter was hospitalized. I have both my daughters are amazing. They both suffer from serious mental illnesses. And no matter what was going on in life, it was a comfort to stick to the business, to the community, and just having something to hope for and to feel better about. So I kept doing that. After I got laid off, and I decided before I got laid off, I actually got laid off. I decided to become a Pilates instructor. I took Pilates way back in the 80s. And so I decided to do that to kind of get my body back in shape and to do something that I loved. So when I got laid off, I was already starting to become a Pilates instructor. So I decided to do that. Then COVID happened in 2020 and the state of Georgia shut down. And so I had nothing coming in because the Georgia Department of Labor somehow got my records messed up or whatever and never paid me. So Juice Plus was basically the only income I had coming in. And Beverly Grandison started this game called the Madness Game. And I didn't really want to play it because it sounded overwhelming here in the business. And so Mom convinced me to do it. And I did it last March. And it's a game that's based on activity and not on results. But that was huge because I doubled and then tripled my income last year and started having more momentum and having more team. And so I kept doing that. And so I'm going to fast forward into this year, bringing on new teams. So every time, one thing I love about the Lunch and Learns, and we started doing the blitzing while everybody was home with COVID, is that it kept me working. The other thing is I always feel like Sharon and Doug are always, finding new ways to make sure that we stay plugged in or that we stick to the system. And so that always thinking about that. I'm kind of, the way my mind thinks is it would seem like I'm organized, but I'm not really that organized, but I do like the details about things. So I started really paying attention to my reports. And then as I brought team on, making sure that they were coming to the system. So I'm going to fast forward again and what I started doing to help team be more successful. As you know, on Team Transformers, we have the friends and family call and the information for that is on gotransformers.net. And so when a new person comes in, after they're onboarded, we had them going through the friends and family call. Well, one way that I found out after kind of like trial and error in doing this, that seems to be a lot more effective, is instead of just telling a new person to make a list and, um, you know, giving them the link to go transformers.net because the invite is there. And instead of sending them there and telling them to make a list and invite people to their friends and family call, instead, I don't even send them to the website. I copy and paste the invite. I tell them to make their list. I send them the invite. We come up with a date and a time, and they have the conference line number, but I blitz with them. So that's something we're starting to do on our team now. So we're blitzing with the new person. And by blitzing, I mean, we're getting on a Zoom together or even on a call together, and you're there with that new person as they are sending out these invites. And I think that's really important because we tend to get really nervous. And so what happens is that a new person that's nervous will start editing in their mind and not really sending out all the invites that they would have sent out, or kind of partially doing it, you know. So I just feel like it gives them a level of comfort to be on the phone or to be on Zoom. And that's a great time for you to blitz as well. And so that's something that we started doing. And I don't know if she's on today, but I haven't seen everybody on there, but I have a new partner. And when she first did it, she came with her list of 5 people. And so I got on the phone with her, just kind of ease her, and sent the message, told her to send it back to me first. So I'm the first person she blitzes, or they blitz when they send out the messages. Then but the funny thing was she started feeling really comfortable. And she was kind of the first person that I did this with. She started feeling really comfortable and was like, I should send this to this person. So by the time we were done, she had sent out 16 invites in less than 15 minutes. And that was for a friends and family call that she decided to have the next day. So we sent out the invites, and then she sends them out. So that's just an example of once they feel more comfortable, then the brain starts working differently. They start thinking of more people. So the day of the friends and family call, I like to send them a kind of a screenshot of their portion where they're welcoming people and that they tell their story, making sure that they feel comfortable about their 60-second story, Use Plus product story, well, 2 minutes, product and business story. And so that they know that, we're following a script. It's not until the day of that I actually send them to gotransformers.net to the blog section so that they can just follow along with the script. But by now they've seen their portion, they have their story ready, they know what it is, they know they're going to be welcoming people onto the call. I actually send them the text reminder to send out to people, and then they send that out to everybody. So after the friends and family call, we do that. After the call, I actually give them, on our team, we have a few videos that we like to send up as follow-ups. So usually a couple of videos. I always like to send the clinical research summary page. And so it's usually something about the complete shake, the capsule video, the research summary. And then at the end, I always tell them to make sure that they put their website, because we do not want people randomly going to juiceplus.com and ordering it, and then it ends up being somebody else's lead. So I always say at the end, tell them to feel free to explore the website too. So now this is their friends and family's second exposure. They did the friends and family call, which is just an announcement. It's not a sales call. So they know what Juice Plus is. They know that this is what their family member is doing or their friend is doing. The follow-up is the second exposure. The third exposure, and this is something that we've been doing more recently, is now instead of just inviting them to an event that's already established or creating a date for an event and then inviting to that. We are individually following up with everybody that was on the call and that they invited but weren't on the call, because they've sent out the recording to those people, or they've sent out something to everybody, whether they showed up or not. And setting an appointment to actually do the presentation, the same Juice Plus presentation that's on the freedomrevolution.com. So all this is important because everything is pretty duplicatable. You as a sponsor know to go to gotransformers.net. All I did was copy and paste that stuff, the invite, exactly as it is. I told them to make sure they greet people the way they normally do. If you don't normally say the person's name you're greeting, then you're not going to greet that way, but just to use the same things. So copying and pasting, everything is just copying and pasting. The presentation is the exact same one on the Freedom Revolution. It can be directly one-on-one, or it can be a couple of people, or people gathered together. But the difference is that when they are directly calling this person, they're finding out that person is committing to a date. They're committing to something, so it's not like they're not going to show up, because they have agreed to this time and this place. And then you get on Zoom, and I do the first one with the new partner, and I try really hard not to embellish and to read exactly what's on there, because then that way they can see, oh, this is easy. She's literally just reading off of this. And so the second time we do it, I do it with them. I say, okay, you're going to read one slide, I'll read one slide. You read one, I read one. And then they have their story ready. So when it gets to the part that says my story, they tell their story, I tell my story, and then we go on. And then at the end, it asks to join us, because to me, the purpose of showing the presentation, yes, is another exposure. Yes, it's education, but you're trying to get people to eat Juice Plus. So this is about getting a sale, in my opinion. So I have found that instead of just having an event ready to invite people to, when you do it this way, right after their friends and family call, they're having a higher rate of success as far as getting customers. You get to that last page that says to come join us, either be a customer, or to get 3 to 5 other people who want to be customers to eat Juice Plus, or to earn an income. And more often than not, they'll want to be a customer. So after we end, I usually call the person back, see if they got any feedback. And they're usually getting really good feedback from the friends and families that are actually seeing the presentation, because the presentation is just awesome. It covers everything. The good thing about that, one thing that I have been telling team lately and really encouraging them, is when somebody shows interest, if they say this is great, they say, yes, I think I need that. The next thing to say is, I can help you get started. And Mom has taught me never to assume what a person can afford, or what they are able to do, or what they're ready to do. Because a lot of times we assume the worst, not the best. If you're going to assume anything, assume that they are ready to order and they are getting everything. So I tell, if the person is showing interest and they said so, I tell them, literally open up your virtual office, call them and say, I'm ready to help you get started. And you have a higher rate of somebody actually buying when you do that. And you're ready, you're on your virtual office already. And so the expectation is that. And so that is basically what we've been doing, or what I'm doing. The other thing is really encouraging team to play this game that Beverly came up with. Beverly is National Marketing Director now. And because the game is activity-based, and it's amazing because it really fosters a sense of community in doing the business, just like the morning blitzes and these lunch and learns that Doug and Sharon do. The game is concentrated 5 days a week. And for new people that do it, it might seem a lot to them at first, but being the way the game is played is that everybody's put onto a team. You have a team captain, and you have co-captains, and you have a coach. And all of those 3 to 4 people have had a lot of great success in the business. You get your points from doing activity. And so, like, I'm just going to give one example. Instead of giving points for people that get a customer, instead, let's say if you're inviting to an event, instead of just getting points for inviting people, you get points if people respond. So, and you need 2 people to respond to get 1 point. So they kind of put you in the mindset of wanting to reach out to as many people as possible. So really encouraging new people. I've had a few new people do the game, and the 2 people that did the game in March, sorry, I was getting a call actually from a new person. Instead of the 2 people from my team who were brand new on the team that did this March, that did the game in this past March, are both QSCs. They make QSC in July, or was it August? They make QSC in July. And one of them is qualified, and the other person is on her way to being qualified this month. So the game also encourages 3-way calls. So we do 3-way calls with new people, but also we do 3-way calls with each other. So it'll be me, a new person, and my upline, who is my mom. And we will talk about what they're going through. Sometimes you never know what's going on in people's lives or what they might be confused about. So making sure that you speak to the people on your team more than once a week is really helpful. The most recent thing that we've done that I told Mom I thought we needed to do was to get together with the QSCs on our team. And we're going to be doing this more regularly. And the reason why is because QSCs, if they don't quickly go to sales coordinator, they tend to get discouraged. And I started to realize that they were still thinking the same thought process that they did when they were Partner Plus, or to get to Partner Plus, or to get to QSC. And so we tend to think that the success in the business is a linear process. In other words, I make Partner Plus, I'm getting more customers, so I make QSC. Oh, now I have a couple of team members, so they're going to make QSC and they're going to make Partner Plus, and then I'm going to be a sales coordinator. And you just feel like it's just going to run that straight line just like that. It's amazing if that happens, but most often than not, it is a dual process. So we got together with our QSCs this week just to help them understand that they need to think differently. QSC getting to sales coordinator is about a team process, but at the same time, it's still about you growing your business. So the emphasis on them continuing to bring customers in, continuing to get new team members in, and making sure they understand that system that I mentioned earlier, the onboarding, the friends and family call, the following up, the event, getting on Voxer, so all of those things, as long as they're offering that assistance to these new people, and they're still going out and talking to customers themselves and doing events for themselves, then that changes the energy and doesn't get you into a mindset of keeping, we start keeping tabs on all the new team members and wondering, okay, why aren't they doing the same thing that I'm doing or that I did? I told them what Wendy Campbell says, you're a blessing whether you do a little or a lot. And it's true, because I had a team member who made it to QSC because somebody who was a customer reshipped. No, somebody who was a team member who was not really active had 2 orders that reshipped. So there you go. So that's kind of what we've been doing. letting the QSCs know, it's just kind of helping them to understand where they are. And if you look at the compensation plan, it's really interesting to me that they changed it so that I think we used to think of sales coordinators as being kind of leadership, but QSSC is uh, the new start of the leadership titles. And it's about organization building. And the way that they put together QSC and sales coordinator, the way that you have to start learning about what the difference between paid and promotional points, and this is what we went over with our QSCs, is different. It's a different mindset. They're almost kind of like preparing you for sales coordinators. So when you become a sales coordinator, that promotional stuff is gone, you know? So, and they need to understand where their money is coming from and why the check might be great one month and look like it's less the next month. So I would just say, to make sure you're sticking to the system, and maybe try some of the things that we're trying now, because those things I feel are really helping people to find success. And just you want to keep that sense of community and that sense of you're there to answer their questions and you understand what it is that they're going through when they feel like they're getting stuck, you know, and keep the momentum going, or even just allow them to be. And that's another thing we told our QSCs, you have to allow your team members to be where they are. Instead, you don't have to push anybody, just let them know that you're there to help them through the system. But you keep going. You got to get that performance bonus. You want to get those 24 customers of your own. And then you're helping your team to do the same. That's it.
All right. Thank you. I love that. Just let them be, you know, and we're supposed to be like Wendy Campbell says, come on along, inviting, you know, and if they don't want to come on along at that point, you know, that's okay. We'll come back for them, right? Well, thank you, Nanette. That was awesome. Maybe put in the chat the things that helped you build your belief in the business or, you know, this type of industry. I think that was also very key in your journey. I love hearing about your systems. I wanted to point out she's talking about the new person having a number of exposures. Our presentation really does have all the things that we would say to people. So that's a great thing to have them learn. I did want to show you that. I think we're running out of time. Let's see. It is on the Freedom Revolution, like she said, freedomrevolution.com, thefreedomrevolution.com. Hopefully you already know where that is. Do you include all of this, Nanette? I have it as a PDF right now.
So
Or do you go down?
I didn't take anything out. I just read it as it was. I did skip over the Canadian pricing because we're not in Canada. And I did stop before the business. So these were all product presentations. I just recently edited it to take out the Canadian pricing and to split up if you have PowerPoint, you can make it 2 presentations, just business and product separate. But otherwise, we literally just read off of exactly what was on there.
Okay, great. Doug, you raised your hand.
I want to emphasize for everybody listening on here and on Facebook. I mean, you could listen to Nanette and say, "Oh my gosh, she has got it together. This is incredible." I got it, and she's talking about these systems. Like, I got to come up with some systems too. Okay, that's not what Nanette did, just so you know. I mean, this goes back to 2019. Sharon and I went to the Eric Worre GoPro event in Vegas, and we came back super excited. And he talked all about systems, and he had listed all these different systems we got to have for our business. Otherwise, how can we duplicate? So we said, man, you know, we kind of have systems. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's just document what our systems are within Juice Plus, and then find out if there's anything that we need to tighten up for our team a little bit. So, hold on. Okay. So we documented the systems. The systems, all the systems are on gotransformers.net. Okay. There's also a blog there. There's only like 3 blog articles. One of them is the systems One is friends and family call, and maybe Jim Rohn or something. I don't know. But so Nanette's, what she's done is she's following the system. Okay. She didn't make up a system. That's where people go astray. When you see people doing stuff and they're not a part of the systems, I bet you they're not growing as fast. I mean, we've adopted the systems and are very committed to them, like Sheridan and I personally, and we've seen more growth in our business since then. Nanette, Nalani has gotten on board as well, really on board, and it's like super. It's super effective. So just be careful that you're really following the system. And when we're dreaming up new things, or if you listen to some podcast and they say, "Oh yeah, you got to brand yourself," and it's all about social media marketing, and that's going to draw leads in and all this stuff. There's nobody that makes like over $5,000 a month in Juice Plus that ever talks about things like that. They just don't. Kurt Beavers almost talked about it for a little while, like a couple months, and then he just didn't talk about it anymore. I don't know if you remember that, Sharon. He was talking about starting a page and branding yourself. Why go through all the trouble of doing that? You just don't need to, and like Nanette said, like connection, keeping the team connected, how she's doing it with three-way calls, and just beautiful. So I love hearing the way Nanette and Nalani, thank you for for duplicating what we're teaching. And I want to encourage everybody to lean into what Nanette was saying. Go check out gotransformers.net and listen to that podcast, because I think it's going to blow your mind. The podcast, if you came on late, it's in the invite to this. I sent it out on Sunday and put it in Team Transformers and on Voxer on Sunday. It's on the reminder about this. There's a link to an Apple podcast called Don't Half-Ass It. So you combine the systems with really working, and you will see your business go up, guaranteed. Great stuff today. Thanks, Nanette. Sharon, back to you.
Okay, well, I think that was great. So you have your action steps. Listen to the podcast. Yeah, Stacy says it's a great podcast. It's like 14 minutes. And it's something you could listen to pretty often because it kind of keeps you on track with all life. It's talking about leveling up, not being mediocre, doing things right instead of the other way. And so that's the podcast. That's one of your first action steps. The other was to go to gotransformers.net, check out the friends and family call, say, let's start implementing this, say it to your upline, your leader, whatever, and they can help you. And then check out thefreedomrevolution.com also under training and events. That's where the PowerPoints are. And they can be a PDF or a PowerPoint. And just, I think it's a great idea to follow up with people who haven't quite made it to a friends and family call. Just say, hey, I know you've been trying. Let's just get together, you and I. That way we only have 2 schedules to figure out. And let's just do this really quickly. And many of you can do it. It's all, everything is written on that PowerPoint that you need to know because we made sure of it. So I hope that helped you guys. And tonight is Wendy Campbell. You don't want to miss that, especially if you're new. And bring some people along, okay? That's going to be dynamite. Trust me. I want to hear you guys say it was dynamite afterwards. And then Thursday, we'll be back on the Lunch and Learn and the Blitz. Doug's laughing at me. I'm so old school.
You're talking about the Sanford and Son or something? Or
no, JJ?
Jimmy?
Was that JJ?
JJ Walker. It's dynamite.
Okay, I guess I went way back to my childhood. Mm-hmm. So tell me that Wendy
Good
came
times.
with like Joan Rivers on speed was dynamite. All right. So anyway, and then tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow, if you who tunes into oh gosh, why can't I even say it? Start JP Now. Who tunes in? Did I say it wrong?
Occasionally, yeah, occasionally I do.
Start JP Now. Is that what it's called? I think so.
I think
Okay,
so.
I've sent out the flyers. I'm not sure we're tuning into that, so I did not send the flyer. But it's every Tuesday night. And anyway, that's what's Tuesday night. But we have enough on the other days. Wednesday is the global one with Halawate. And then late at night, Michelle, do you want to tell them about your late night business event? That's at 10 Eastern. So it's good for you, Gwen, and people on the West Coast.
Yeah, this event is called Powerful Women in Business, and it's hosted by, it's going to be a panel of Juice Plus people hosted by a Juice Plus representative. Just us sharing our experience in this business and why people would want to join us. So if you have someone who's interested in hearing from different perspectives of women that are doing this business, that's a good event to tap into. And it's happening 10 p.m. Eastern, which is really what, 7 p.m. Pacific. Yeah. Oh,
And
Powerful Women in Business.
Right. And I'll add this to the announcements and the global one with John Halawate, my favorite.
Mine too.
You know I love him. And that's this one, playing full out. Okay. Till Christmas, it says. All right. So that podcast will help you play full out. All right, guys. Have an awesome day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, thanks.
Great to see you.